I thought I'd heard it all after 22 years of marriage. But when Brooke sat across from me at our kitchen table last Thursday and said, "Mason, I think it's best if you don't come to the cottage this Christmas," I felt something inside me crack like Arizona desert clay in summer heat. "What do you mean, don't come?" I asked, setting down my coffee mug on the laminate countertop we'd been meaning to replace for 3 years. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "The kids think, we all think it might be easier if you stayed home this year. You've been so difficult lately." Difficult. That word hung in the air between us like dust kicked up by a monsoon wind. Difficult how? You know how. She was using that tone, the one she'd started using about a year ago, patient but strained, like she was explaining air conditioning basics to a first-day apprentice. "At Thanksgiving, you argued with Shane about his business idea. At Megan's birthday, you made that comment about her boyfriend's gauges. The kids are tired of walking on eggshells. Shane was our son, 21 college dropout, working some marketing internship when he wasn't chasing get-rich-quick schemes. Megan was 19, our daughter, splitting time between community college and retail shifts at Target. Good kids, I thought we'd raised them right. I was having a conversation," I said. "Shane asked what I thought about his multi-level marketing thing. You called it a pyramid scheme. It was a pyramid scheme. Essential oils and protein powder don't make you an entrepreneur, Brooke." Brooke sighed, that deep, disappointed sigh I'd been hearing a lot lately. "That's exactly what I mean, Mason. You can't just be supportive. Everything has to be your way, your opinion, your judgment." I sat there looking at the woman I'd loved since we met at that dive bar off McDowell Road in 2002. We'd married young, built a life together in this tract home in Mesa, 2 kids, steady work, respectable middle-class existence. I'd worked HVAC for Phoenix Systems for 22 years, crawling through attics in 120-degree summers, fixing what people couldn't fix themselves. I was good at it. I took pride in it. "So that's it," I said. 22 years and I'm uninvited from Christmas. "It's not forever, just this year. Give everyone some space." She reached across the table like she might take my hand, then thought better of it. "Maybe you could spend it with Drew." My brother Drew lived in Phoenix proper. We talked maybe once a month, usually about Cardinals games or whose turn it was to check on Mom. "Right," I said. That night I lay awake while Brooke slept beside me, the house humming with the quiet efficiency of the HVAC system I'd installed myself 5 years back. Too quiet. I thought about all the Christmases at the cottage up in Flagstaff, the family tradition we'd started when Shane was in elementary school. The snow, the fireplace, Brooke's green chilo stew, the kids opening presents, and in recent years watching them pretend to care about family time while scrolling their phones. And now I was being cut out of it like a faulty compressor. The next morning, Brooke had already left for her job at the medical office when I woke up. There was a note on the counter. "Didn't want to wake you. There's coffee." I spent most of that day in my garage workshop. I'd been spending more time out there lately. It was the only place that felt like mine anymore. The house had slowly transformed over the years into Brooke's domain, decorated with her farmhouse aesthetic, organized by her rules. But the garage was still mine, cluttered with my tools, my projects, my way of thinking. I'd been working on something for the past 10 months, nothing the family knew about. They probably wouldn't have cared if they did. To them, I was just Mason, tinkering around with gadgets, avoiding real life. But this was real. More real than anything I'd done in years. It started with a conversation I'd had with a former coworker, Logan Mitchell, at a retirement party back in February. Logan had gone into business for himself after leaving Phoenix Systems, working with tech startups on smart home installations. Over beers, he mentioned something that caught my attention. "Biggest problem in residential HVAC," he'd said, "is efficiency monitoring. You've got homeowners running systems that are 30% less efficient than they should be, but they have no idea until their electric bill hits $400 in July. Meanwhile, contractors are doing maintenance blind, guessing at problems instead of getting real data." I'd nodded. I knew this intimately. I'd spent 2 decades dealing with it. "Someone needs to build a universal monitoring platform," Logan continued. "Something that can interface with any HVAC system, give real-time efficiency data, predict maintenance needs, AI-driven maybe. Could save homeowners thousands, create a whole new service model for contractors." He'd said it casually, already moving on to complaining about the Suns' playoff chances. But I couldn't stop thinking about it because I knew something Logan didn't know. Something almost nobody knew. Back in the early 2000s, when I was working on the installation for that massive Ahwatukee development, I'd developed a diagnostic system. Nothing fancy, just a way of standardizing efficiency readings across different units from different manufacturers. It had worked so well that our crew used it for years, but it was analog, paper-based, limited. The company owned it, and eventually it was forgotten as newer technologies emerged. But I still had the principles, the methodology, the framework, and I'd been thinking for years about how to modernize it. After that conversation with Logan, I started working, really working, not just thinking or planning, but building. I taught myself Arduino programming, studied IoT sensors, read everything I could about smart home integration. Brooke thought I was just wasting time on the computer. The kids made jokes about Dad trying to become a tech bro, but I was building something. A platform, a monitoring system, a solution to the exact problem Logan had described. By September, I had a working prototype. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. I tested it on my own system first, then quietly on a few customer jobs, with permission, of course. The results were remarkable. The system could predict maintenance needs 6 months in advance, optimize efficiency by up to 40%, and catch problems before they became expensive failures. I showed it to Logan casually over coffee in November. Remember that conversation we had about monitoring systems? I've been tinkering with something. He looked at my tablet screen for 5 minutes without saying anything. Then he looked at me, really looked at me like he was seeing someone he didn't recognize. "Mason," he said slowly, "do you understand what this is?" "A monitoring platform?" "No," he shook his head. "This is $1 million idea. This is industry changing. How long have you been working on this?" 10 months, give or take." He laughed, but it wasn't a normal laugh. It was shocked, almost breathless. "You built this in 10 months by yourself?" "It's not that complicated. The core principles are solid. I just needed to translate them into modern technology." Logan leaned back in his chair. "Mason, I know people. Investors, tech companies. Can I show this to them?" I shrugged. What did I have to lose? My family thought I was obsolete anyway. "Sure," I said. "Why not?" That was 3 weeks ago. Logan moved fast. He connected me with a company called Thermotech Solutions based in Scottsdale. They specialized in smart home technology and they were very interested. Very interested. We had meetings. They asked technical questions, market questions, implementation questions. I answered them all. I'd spent 22 years in this industry. I knew the market better than most people half my age. They wanted to move forward. They wanted to acquire the technology outright, bring me on as chief technical consultant, and fast-track development. The number they mentioned made me dizzy. $1.2 million just for the initial buyout, with performance bonuses that could push it to $4.5 million over 3 years. I didn't tell Brooke. I didn't tell the kids. What would I say? "Hey, remember how you think I'm difficult and out of touch? Well, I just built something that might change how people heat and cool their homes." They'd probably think I was having a midlife crisis. So I kept quiet. I worked with their lawyers, signed the papers, set up the deal. It would be finalized and announced on December 26th, Boxing Day. The irony wasn't lost on me. Christmas arrived. Brooke left for the cottage on the 23rd, packing the SUV with presents for a celebration I wouldn't attend. "Just in case you change your mind," she said, but we both knew I wouldn't. I wasn't going to show up uninvited to my own family Christmas. Shane called me on Christmas Eve. "Hey, Dad, just wanted to say Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas, son. You doing okay? Mom said you decided not to come." Decided. That was one way to put it. "I'm fine. Enjoy the snow." "Yeah." Awkward silence. "Maybe next year, right?" "Maybe." After we hung up, I sat in my living room with a Corona, watching some bowl game I didn't care about. The house was decorated. Brooke had insisted on the tree, the lights, the whole production, even though I'd be spending Christmas alone. It felt like a model home display. Traditional American Christmas, 2024 edition. I wasn't angry. That surprised me. I thought I'd be furious, bitter, resentful, but mostly I just felt calm, peaceful even. For the first time in months, nobody was disappointed in me. Nobody was sighing when I spoke or exchanging glances when I offered an opinion. It was just me, my thoughts, and the quiet hum of perfectly calibrated HVAC. I spent Christmas Day in my garage workshop, fine-tuning some final details of the monitoring system. The deal would close tomorrow, and I wanted everything perfect. Around noon, I made myself a sandwich, turkey and Swiss because tradition still mattered, even if family didn't. At exactly 12:01 a.m., transitioning from Christmas to Boxing Day, my phone rang. Shane. Dad. His voice was strange, higher than usual, shaking. What's wrong? Is everyone okay? Dad, what the hell? He wasn't making sense. What did you do? My heart started racing. What are you talking about? Your name is on the news. The Arizona Republic app just sent a notification. He stopped, took a breath. Dad, it says Mason Wright, Mesa HVAC technician, sells smart home monitoring system to Thermotech Solutions for... He stopped again. I sat down. I'd known the announcement was coming, but I hadn't realized it would be immediate. Midnight on Boxing Day, they'd said. They'd been literal. Dad, it says $1.2 million. Oh, I said. That's it? Oh? Shane's voice cracked. Dad, what is this? Is this real? It's real. You sold something for $1.2 million? Initial buyout. There's more if performance targets are met. Could be up to $4.5 million over 3 years. Silence. Then, I need to call you back. He hung up. 30 seconds later, Megan called. Then Brooke. Then Shane again. My phone didn't stop ringing for the next hour. I let most of them go to voicemail. I wasn't ready to talk. Not yet. The next morning I woke up to 52 text messages, 15 voicemails, and 8 emails. Most were from family members. Some were from old colleagues who'd seen the news. A few were from journalists asking for interviews. Brooke came home that afternoon, alone. She walked into the house without knocking, even though technically she'd left me here by myself. Mason? She just stood there in the doorway, still wearing her Christmas sweater. Why didn't you tell me? Tell you what? Don't play games. The technology, the deal, any of it. I looked at her, really looked at her. She seemed smaller somehow, deflated. Would you have been interested? I asked. She opened her mouth, closed it. That's not fair. Isn't it? When was the last time anyone in this family asked what I was working on? When was the last time anyone cared about my opinion, unless it was to tell me I was wrong? You could have said something. I did say things. I said a lot of things. I had opinions and ideas and thoughts, and everyone, including you, made it very clear that those things weren't welcome anymore. Brooke sat down on the couch. She looked exhausted. The kids feel terrible. I'm sure they do. Shane is devastated. He says he had no idea you were working on something so important. He wouldn't have cared if he did know. 10 months ago, when I told him I was learning programming, he laughed. He made a joke about Dad trying to become Mark Cuban. He didn't mean... Yes, he did. Megan made jokes too. And you, Brooke, you told people at your book club that I was going through a phase, that I was having some kind of midlife crisis, playing with computers instead of accepting middle age. She flinched. Someone told you that? Ashley Turner. She thought I should know. She also thought it was cruel. Brooke was crying now, not dramatically, just quiet tears running down her face. I'm sorry, she said. For what, specifically? For not listening, for not taking you seriously, for thinking... She wiped her eyes. For thinking you were just my stubborn husband who couldn't adapt to how things are now. I am stubborn, I said. But I'm not obsolete. I never was. No, she agreed quietly. You're not. We sat in silence for a while. Finally, she asked, what happens now? With us? With everything? I've been thinking about that all night. The deal closes officially today. Thermotech wants me to start consulting in January, helping their team develop the platform for national rollout. They're talking about partnerships with major HVAC manufacturers, integration with existing smart home systems. That's not what I meant. I know. I looked at her. I think we need to talk, really talk, about the last few years, about how we got here, about whether we can fix this. Do you want to fix it? That was the question, wasn't it? Did I want to go back to being the family member everyone tolerated but didn't respect? Did I want to spend my remaining years walking on eggshells, making myself smaller so everyone else could feel bigger? I don't know, I said honestly. I know I loved you for 22 years. I know we built a life together, but I don't know if I can go back to being the person you all wanted me to be. We never wanted you to be anyone else. Yes, you did. You wanted me to be quieter, less opinionated, more agreeable. You wanted me to just nod and smile and stop having thoughts that didn't match everyone else's. She didn't argue. She couldn't, because we both knew it was true. Shane and Megan showed up that evening together, which suggested they'd coordinated. They stood in my living room looking uncomfortable, like teenagers who'd been caught cheating on a test. "Dad," Shane started, "we owe you an apology, multiple apologies." "We've been treating you like your experience and knowledge didn't matter," Megan added, "like your ideas were outdated." I waited. Shane continued, "What you built, Dad, it's incredible. I've been reading about it online. The trade publications are calling it revolutionary. One article said it could be the biggest innovation in residential HVAC monitoring in decades." "I don't care what trade publications say," I told them. "What do you care about?" Megan asked. "I care about being respected. Not because I made money, but because I'm your father, and I've lived 45 years on this planet, and I might actually know some things worth listening to." They both nodded. "I care," I continued, "about being part of a family that values me for who I am, not who they want me to be. I care about having conversations where my opinions aren't automatically dismissed because I don't understand TikTok, or because I actually remember what happened the last time someone tried a scheme like multi-level marketing." "The essential oils thing wasn't multi-level marketing," Shane muttered. "It was exactly multi-level marketing." He smiled slightly. "Yeah, okay. It was totally MLM." Megan stepped forward. "Dad, can we start over? Not forget everything, but try to do better?" "That depends," I said. "Are you here because you respect me or because I'm suddenly worth $1.2 million? "Both," Shane said bluntly. Then, seeing my face, "I mean, yes, the money made us realize we'd been idiots. But that doesn't make us less idiotic. We were. And if it took this to wake us up, then I'm grateful it happened, even though I'm ashamed it was necessary." I appreciated the honesty. "Here's what I need," I said. "I need time to think. Time to figure out what I want from the rest of my life, which might be another 30 years if I'm lucky. I'm not making any promises about family dinners or cottages or pretending everything is fine when it's not." "That's fair," Megan said. "And," I added, "if we're going to rebuild this, it has to be real. Not just everyone being nice because they feel guilty or because they think I might cut them out of my will." Shane winced. "We deserve that." "Yes," I agreed. "You do." The weeks that followed were strange. The story made regional business news. I got interview requests from industry magazines, tech podcasts, even a call from someone at Shark Tank wanting to know if I'd be interested in being a guest expert. I declined most of them. I wasn't interested in being famous. I just wanted to work. Thermotech set me up with an office space at their Scottsdale headquarters. Nothing fancy, just a place where I could meet with their development team. They'd hired 6 engineers to work on expanding the platform, and they wanted me involved in all major decisions. It was energizing. For the first time in years, maybe decades, I felt alive. I had purpose beyond just existing, beyond just being someone's husband or father or the HVAC guy. I was building something again. By March, something unexpected happened. Shane came to me with a proposal. His marketing background, combined with my platform, could create a comprehensive customer experience. Not just monitoring, but education, service scheduling, energy optimization coaching. My first instinct was to say no. To protect what I'd built, keep it separate from family complications. But then I remembered what I'd told him. Actions matter more than intentions. "Let's see your proposal," I said. It was good, really good. He'd done his homework, identified market opportunities, created realistic projections. It wasn't just an idea anymore. It was a plan. We spent 2 months developing it together. Working alongside my son, I rediscovered parts of him I'd forgotten. He was smart, creative, genuinely talented at understanding customer psychology. And he listened, really listened, not just waiting for his turn to talk. In May, we presented the idea to Thermotech. They loved it. They brought Shane on as a consultant, and by summer, he was heading up customer engagement for the platform's expansion into the Phoenix metro market. Megan took a different approach. She asked if she could apply her retail experience to user interface design, focusing on making the technology accessible to non-technical homeowners. It wasn't about the money for her. She genuinely cared about making sure the system served regular people, not just tech enthusiasts. We created a homeowner advisory board. Megan ran it. Her insights about customer experience transformed how we approached system notifications and maintenance recommendations. Brooke started taking computer classes at the community college. She said she wanted to understand what I'd been working on in the garage all those months. She'd never be a programmer, but she learned enough to have informed conversations about the work. More importantly, she started asking questions again. Real questions. Interested questions. The kind of questions that assume the person you're talking to might know something you don't. By December, 1 year after I'd spent Christmas alone, things were different. Not perfect, not magically healed, but different in ways that mattered. We went to the cottage as a family, all of us, plus Megan's boyfriend with the gauges, who turned out to study engineering and wanted to discuss technical applications of IoT sensors. Shane brought his new girlfriend, a project manager who'd heard about my platform and was curious about smart building integration. On Christmas Eve, after dinner, Shane asked me to step outside with him. We stood on the cottage deck, looking at the snow-covered pines, our breath visible in the mountain air. "Dad," he said, "I need to tell you something." "All right." "Last Christmas, when Mom said you shouldn't come, I was relieved. I thought it would be easier without you there. Less tense, less complicated." He paused. "It was the worst Christmas of my life." "Shane, let me finish. It wasn't just that you weren't there. It was that we'd made you not be there." And the whole time I kept thinking about all the Christmases before, all the times you'd given advice or shared your opinion, and I'd rolled my eyes or changed the subject. All the times I treated you like you were this obligation we had to deal with instead of someone who loved us and wanted to help. He was tearing up. My son, 22 years old, crying on a mountain deck. "The platform," he continued, "that changed my life professionally. But that's not why I'm sorry. I'm sorry because even if you'd never built that system, even if you just stayed in HVAC and worked your regular job and lived your life, you still deserve better than what we gave you." I pulled him into a hug. He held on tight, like he hadn't done since he was a kid. "I forgive you," I said. "But more than that, I'm proud of you for recognizing it, for changing, for being willing to do better." "Are you happy, Dad? Now, with everything that's happened?" I thought about it. The platform, the money, the recognition, the family healing, all of it was good, important, but the real answer was simpler. "I'm not invisible anymore," I said. "That's what makes me happy." Through the cottage window, I could see Brooke laughing with Megan and her boyfriend, all of them gathered around the kitchen island. The Christmas tree lights reflected off their wine glasses. It looked like a commercial, like someone's ideal of family togetherness, but it wasn't ideal. It was real. Messy and complicated and still healing from wounds that went deep. But real, and that, I'd learned, was worth more than any dollar amount Thermotech could offer. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sat by the fireplace with my laptop working on preliminary ideas for a new project, an extension of the platform that could revolutionize commercial HVAC maintenance, predict system failures before they became critical. I hadn't told anyone yet. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But this time it wasn't because I felt invisible. It was because I'd learned something valuable about myself over the past year. I didn't need external validation to know my work mattered. I didn't need anyone's permission to keep growing, keep learning, keep building. My phone buzzed. A text from Logan Mitchell. Saw the quarterly numbers. "Your platform is exceeding every projection. You built something special, Mason. Merry Christmas." I smiled and set the phone aside. The fire crackled. Snow fell outside the window. Somewhere upstairs, my family slept peacefully in a cottage that had almost lost me for good. But I was still here, still working, still building, still proving that obsolete was a word that didn't apply to someone who refused to stop growing. It wouldn't be easy, and there'd be more conversations, more work to do. But for the first time in years, I felt like we were all moving in the same direction. The next morning, Christmas Day, I woke up early and made coffee for everyone. When the family started trickling downstairs, they found me in the kitchen, scrambling eggs and making pancakes from scratch. It felt good to be taking care of people again, to be contributing something besides just my presence. "Dad, you didn't have to do this," Megan said, but she was smiling. "I wanted to," I said, and I meant it. After breakfast, we exchanged gifts. I gave everyone practical presents, tools for Shane's new apartment, a quality toolkit for Megan's car maintenance, a new tablet for Brooke that could handle her book club's digital library. They gave me things that showed they'd been paying attention: a subscription to MIT Technology Review, a premium Arduino kit, a coffee mug that read "World's Okayest Dad" that made me laugh out loud. But the real gift was watching Shane explain to Megan's boyfriend how our monitoring system worked, seeing the pride in his voice when he talked about our collaboration. It was hearing Brooke tell her sister over the phone about my platform with genuine excitement, not the forced enthusiasm I'd grown used to. That afternoon, Drew called to congratulate me on the Thermotech deal. We ended up talking for an hour, the longest conversation we'd had in years. He wanted to know about the technology, asked thoughtful questions about the business model, even mentioned he might have some contacts in the commercial building sector who could be interested. "You know," he said before we hung up, "I always knew you were smart, but I didn't realize you were this smart." It was a simple comment, but it hit me hard. Even my brother had been underestimating me. The drive back to Mesa was different from the year before. Instead of tense silence, we talked about plans for the new year. Shane wanted to discuss marketing strategies for different demographic segments. Megan had ideas about customer feedback systems. Brooke asked detailed questions about the IoT sensors and how they interfaced with different HVAC manufacturers. For the first time in years, I felt like I was part of a team instead of just along for the ride. By February, the platform's first quarter numbers were extraordinary. We'd exceeded every projection Thermotech had made. Homeowners were seeing average energy savings of 35%. And the predictive maintenance features had prevented dozens of major system failures across our pilot markets. More importantly for me personally, the success had opened doors I'd never expected. The Arizona State University Engineering Department invited me to guest lecture about practical innovation. A documentary filmmaker wanted to interview me for a project about blue-collar inventors. The Department of Energy reached out about incorporating our efficiency standards into future building codes. But the most satisfying moment came in March when I was invited to speak at the National HVAC Contractors Association annual conference. Standing in front of 2,000 industry professionals, explaining how traditional diagnostic principles could be enhanced with modern technology, I felt like I'd come full circle. After my presentation, a young contractor from Phoenix approached me. He reminded me of myself at his age, eager, hardworking, frustrated by the inefficiencies he saw every day. "Mr. Wright," he said, "I've been thinking about a problem with ductwork inspection in older homes. I have some ideas, but I don't know how to develop them." I handed him my business card. "Call me next week. Let's talk." Looking at this kid's enthusiasm, I realized something important. This wasn't just about me proving I wasn't obsolete. It was about using whatever time I had left to help other people solve problems, to pass on what I'd learned, to build things that mattered. The platform continued to evolve throughout the year. Shane's marketing insights helped us reach customers we'd never considered. Megan's user experience recommendations made the system accessible to homeowners who'd never considered smart home technology. Even Brooke contributed, helping us develop customer service protocols that addressed real concerns instead of corporate talking points. By the time our second Christmas at the cottage arrived, our family had transformed into something I'd never quite imagined, a working partnership built on mutual respect and complementary skills. On Christmas Eve, as I watched Shane teach his cousins about energy efficiency and Megan explain IoT sensors to her grandmother, I realized we'd accomplished something rare. We'd taken a broken family dynamic and rebuilt it into something stronger. But the real insight came later, sitting alone by the fireplace after everyone had gone to bed. I understood now that the platform itself had never been the point. The technology, the money, the recognition, those were just tools. The real achievement was learning that respect isn't something you're owed because of your age or experience or good intentions. Respect is something you earn through action, through contribution, through proving that your ideas can make life better for other people. More than that, I'd learned that being dismissed or undervalued wasn't actually about my worth as a person. It was about other people's inability to see past their assumptions. And while I couldn't control how others perceived me, I could control how I responded to that perception. I could have spent my remaining years bitter about being underestimated. Instead, I'd chosen to prove them wrong quietly, methodically, and then use that proof as a foundation for building something better. At 45, I'd finally understood something that had taken me decades to figure out. The most powerful response to being overlooked isn't anger or resentment. It's excellence. It's building something so undeniably valuable that even the people who dismissed you have no choice but to pay attention. And once you have their attention, you get to decide what to do with it. You can use it for revenge, or you can use it for reconstruction. I'd chosen reconstruction, and that choice had given me back my family, my purpose, and my belief in my own capacity to keep growing. Sometimes the greatest victories aren't about proving you're right. They're about proving that being right was never really the point at all.